having someone else stream, but there's some things about having someone else stream under our channel that weren't working. So I'll be streaming tonight. Oh, actually forgot to join the first round, so I'm gonna miss round 1. So let's just watch some of these games. Let's see if we can find one that's close. Probably one down here. And make a quick adjustment to the cropping so that we could see this board a little better. Graham is being a little bit mean with this pin. This is going to be really difficult to solve, even if black plays something like this. Maybe bishop g5, maybe c4. There's really lots of potential problems here for black. I bet Graham will play c4 here. But we'll see if he decides to play something else. He's known for surprising me pretty often. Yeah, c4 is the simplest response. And then bishop g5. Yeah, that's it. The piece falls, and black's position will collapse. Even if black castles kingside, bishop takes wins a full rook. Let's go back to the tournament. Yeah, 6 people were late, including me. I was busy setting up the stream and I forgot to actually press the join button. Okay, Akshay just up the exchange against the higher rated opponent. Probably rook d8 is best here, pinning the knight. If only Akshaj's position wasn't so strangled. I mean, there are lots of possible ways to win, but this c6 pawn is going to be weak for a while, and black has to pay a lot of attention to that. Trading queens would get closer to winning. But having a way to deal with this knight is going to be problematic. Probably king f8, e7, f6, trying to get rid of the pawn and play e5, but white would just respond with f4. So this knight's going to be really obnoxious on this square for a long time. Of course, this is kind of weak too, but it's less easy to attack because it's blocked by the pawn. I think white might be forced to trade queens here. No. Probably rook a5, rook a8 looks best. I mean, this looks playable. Maybe he's planning to play rook b4, but the queen was already covering the pawn. Okay, why not just Okay, now he can't play knight takes because of the defender. The knight is going to be forced to move. If white defends the knight with the queen, then rook d8 will win the game, because it'll be pinned. Isn't this just a free knight? Yeah, it's a blunder. Unless I'm missing something. I think rook b1 wins. Or queen e4. Queen e4 is very simple. Threatening now rook b1. So this is even stronger. Okay, well now white loses. Rook b1. Game over. Let's go look at another game. It looks like Clay is in trouble, but he's up a ton of material. So unless white has some kind of magical checkmate here, Clay is going to win. I see. You just play here, and then what's he gonna do next? Queen check, and then king d1. Then what? Like, what's the actual follow-up? Okay, probably here, and then rook c8. Yeah. That's completely winning. Queen takes knight. And white can resign anytime. Queen f5. Rook b8. Okay. Maybe there's a forced mate that I didn't see. Rook c4 would be forced mate too. Clay is making this harder for himself than it actually needs to be. Because now the king will get to b7, and it's less obvious how to find mate because the rook is hanging. There were definitely forced mates before this. And in time pressure, Clay needs to hurry up. Rook here is the simplest win. Giving up one of your extra rooks, but white is up a significant enough amount of material that it shouldn't matter. White should win pretty easily. Yeah, this is of course winning too. Check first, queen b6, and then rook takes queen mate. Yeah. Is that the last game? No, there's two more. Anish is losing to follow Liu. He's about to get mated on the next move with rook a1. And that game's over. And then we have this game with very little time left for both players. White is going to... Why didn't white just take the rook? I mean, white is up a significant amount of material. White is clearly winning no matter what happens here, but bishop takes rook was the simplest win. Okay, well, he hangs the rook in a different way. Okay. Yeah, there's no way that black can survive. This game is over. I'm not even sure why he's continuing to play. With increment like this, you can't run your opponent out of time. 2 seconds a move in a position like this is really easy to play. White can pre-move almost every move. There's no possible threats to be worried about. So, as he can just pre-move, g5, g6, g7, g8, and that's it. It's over. Wow, a stalemate. That's... Well... Okay. Alright, so the next round is starting now. I'm playing my student Shub. He's a pretty good player. Let's see what he does. he plays bishop g4, I'm going to take on f7. Oops. If he takes, I'll take knight g5, and then I take the bishop with my queen. I'm currently reminding him in the chat that we did an entire lesson on these at some point in the past. I can't take him too lightly. You can see down here that he has beaten me. He beat me in this game, and he's beaten me in another game too, but I forgot exactly which game that was. Okay, queen c4 looks really strong. Like really strong. Like instantly winning strong. Okay, I'm going to play it. Okay. Now I win the exchange because I'll grab the rook on h8. He has to trade queens. Okay, we'll trade queens. No problem. I'll take the rook. He'll probably play knight b4. Okay, well, I'll just castle now. If he trades pawns, it gives me an isolated pawn on d4, but it also vastly accelerates the development of this bishop. So I'm not upset about it at all. In a perfect world, maybe I can save my knight. Probably not, right? Anytime the knight gets trapped in the corner like this, it's probably going to die. But if he moves the king so that the rook attacks the knight, I'm going to play knight g6 and sacrifice the knight so that he has to mess up his pawns. Gives me just more of an advantage going into the ending. I'll just play here. He'll probably play king e7, and then I'll sacrifice the knight. Actually, I'll trade some pieces first. I'll do this, and then I'll play bishop g5 check to develop the piece. Okay, he has to block. And then I'll play check to ruin his pawns. And then I'll push here. He's going to have to play e5. Well, I guess he did not want to do that. Okay. I'm just going to go into the endgame here up a whole piece. Can't complain about that. Oh, now in a rook. Now I'll trap the king, and I think I have forced mate. Next round starts soon. There's going to be some noise on my end in a few minutes, so I'm going to be turning the camera off for the first part of this game. This is not like the best line. After c3, d5, and knight f6 are the more common lines. But this leads to positions that I'm very comfortable in, so I play it anyway. In a tournament game with more time, maybe I play something a little bit more precise. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to play d5 or bishop g7 here. I have to play d5 right now, because otherwise he plays knight c3. The point is that if he pushes e5, I play bishop here, and the d4 pawn becomes a target for my pieces. I've seen Graham play this line a bunch. Actually, Graham has beaten me many times in this line, where I've had white. Because I used to play the c3 Sicilian. If he plays queen b3, I have knight takes e4. If he defends with knight f3, I'm going to pin the knight, and then play e6, knight e7, knight f5, and target d4 with something like queen b6. There's a lot of errors on the board, but that happens when I'm trying to draw out my thought process here. Also, I have a growing time advantage. It's not super substantial at this point. 2 minutes with an increment of 2 seconds is still enough time to play a game for a decent player, but it's enough to pressure him into making some opening mistakes. Like, I think knight f3 is actually kind of bad, because black gets exactly what he wants in these positions. Alright, so the bishop is now pinning my pawn. I don't know if I have to play e6. I think I can play knight h6 instead to get to f5 that way. It might be better, actually, because it prevents bishop g5 from targeting these weak squares. I don't really care if white takes. If queen b3, then I guess I'll be happy to play e6. But I can mess up his pawns first. I'm going to play knight h6. I'm not sure whether that or e6 is more correct in this position. But I have a feeling that I want to leave this pawn uncommitted for a while. The advantage of knight e7 is that it supports the knight on c6, but I can support the knight in other ways, and if absolutely necessary, I can play bishop d7. But it isn't necessary. Okay, I think I take. And then play e6. And then castle. I had to play e6 to defend the pawn. Although castling immediately is a good move, actually, because I would have had knight d4, and it would have basically forced him to take. At this point, though, I'm not sure that I get enough pressure, but I probably do. If he takes, it relieves a lot of pressure on d4, but it also gives me a piece that controls the open file by blocking c1, which is an idea that I've used. Okay, that's a free pawn now. And now the other pawn is going to fall. You can't, once the knight becomes unpinned, it becomes a problem. Of course, I can't take this yet. If I do, then I lose. He's thinking about whether to take back with the knight. I'm planning to play queen h4. But something like f6 is very tempting here. My time advantage is kind of ticking away here, which is unfortunate. I'll play this. This looks reasonably sound. This looks significantly weakening, maybe. Yeah, I mean, he's going to get his knight to d6 now, but I mean, it's less of a problem. Maybe he can play f5, but I don't think so. The bishop is blocked here. Okay, I need to play faster. My time is. Yeah, I fell for this. Pretty sure I missed something. Not sure exactly what. Yeah, I just completely missed this, but I'm pretty sure that black is winning here. Yeah. Yeah, I just have to play it the correct way. Pawn takes, and then when he took back, I should have played. Okay, this is fine. What did I play? Oh, he took here. I should have played knight takes. Okay, king takes was losing. Knight takes was winning. All right. Well, it happens. Sometimes you miss things. Alright. Sunny is a good player, as you can see from her 1800 rapid rating, but she's not quite as good at Blitz. Some kids have equal Blitz and rapid ratings. Some kids do not. Most high-level players, their ratings would be approximately equivalent. But okay, I'll play bishop takes. That's fine. Knight takes is okay. That's a good square for the knight. I'll take space on the queen side. Very typical for my playstyle. This is certainly a reasonable position for black. Okay, I'll play bishop takes. I like this bishop being very active. If she plays knight d5, I'll move the bishop back, no problem. But I didn't want to play knight takes and give white the option of e5. Okay. White really wants to play e5, but that's not enough. There's no real threat. Queen h6 is not a threat. I'll just kick the queen. Wait a second. If I play bishop c3, queen h6, if I take the rook, knight g5 leads to forced mate. So, I cannot allow that. Well, we'll see what she plays. If she plays queen h6, then I'm just going to go back to g7. If she plays the queen anywhere else, oh, I see. That's a decent response. Yeah. I mean, I'm still better. My pawn structure is stronger. The c-pawn is weak. My bishop controls completely open diagonal. I'll just double my rooks. Okay. I will trade the bishop to win a pawn, because I think the resulting endgame is pretty simple. So I win a pawn here. Maybe more. I have some pressure on a2. If rook a1, then I'm going to trade rooks. Absolutely. 100%. I'm going to trap the king on the back rank. I'll play this just to maintain the weakness and not open the file for white's rook. Now my plan is to walk my king out this way. Maybe I should play g5 first so that I can control the f4 square. I am going to do that because now I have an even better reason to control both of these pawns. I'll block the king. Now I walk my king out. Kings are actually very powerful pieces. They're super important, so you have to defend them. Okay, well. I win the king and pawn in game pretty easily if she wants to trade rooks, but for now I'll just hide my king, and I should have played here and won the rook. Doesn't matter. I win at least a rook now. White's king is, of course, trapped. So white resigned. It's a reasonable time to resign. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so now I have a game against Ashish. He used to go to Grimwood too. He's a pretty good player. I think he just won against the 1700 last round or something. I don't know what I want to play here. I guess I'll just play B3. I'm going to play B4, B5. A minority attack to disrupt the pawns and create a new target on C6. Very typical way for white to play in this pawn structure. Black does have counterplay. I mean, it's not an invincible strategy by any means, but it is standard. Okay. I should have just taken the knight. Can't believe I missed something that simple. I'll do it now. He'll probably take my knight, mess up my pawns a little bit. But I think that might be a mistake because I'll play King H1 and Rook G2. Okay, well, he's not going to do that. Okay. But this is not really an even trade. I want to save the pawn so like my bishop c3. My rook is fine on c6. If he tries to kick it, then you know, I have things that I can do about that. I'm actually gonna be greedy and grab a pawn. This weakens my pawns, but I get the d5 pawn, so. Okay, I won material and then just won. It happens. Graham and Peter are playing, but Graham's up a rook, so yeah, the discovered check. Well, that's brutal. There are a couple more games. Falalu playing Clay. Materials even, but the f7 pawn will fall next. So Clay might be in trouble. And then this game where black is just up a bishop, so I guess we'll see what happens. I had someone point out that I hadn't fixed the name because I got Streamlabs up really quickly and then I had to fix it. Yeah, I wasn't even fast enough to get into the tournament for the first round. So I just overlooked changing the title. I wonder if there's a way to programmatically do it, but I doubt it. Let's see who I get for this round. Falalu, he's a good player. I guess he's not here right now. Let's see if I can win against Graham. To be honest, I'm probably going to just turn my camera off. I can't afford to be talking and playing at the same time against him. Yeah. So, yeah, I know that line pretty well. This is the second time that I've won. Okay, so we're playing the same-ish here. I actually forgot the line that I used to play against this. I think it's here. And then here. And then he's going to play knight g3. And I'm going to take here. And then I'm going to play knight h5. This line is wild. Next I play f5 and just really start to challenge. I just somehow completely missed bishop c3 check, winning my queen. I missed mate in one. I'm gonna drop out. I've played everyone I came here to play, so I'm just gonna spectate the next few rounds, and we'll pull up some of the top boards and watch them. Peter and Clay, this will be a good game. We'll just stay here and watch this game. We'll let the opening play out. I don't want too much commentary on the opening. We'll just see what they come up with. Both of these players have styles very different than my own, so I can't really predict what they're going to play. I'm curious to see how the rest of this game will go. Right, White is playing reasonably passively, but there's no major weaknesses in his position at all. Black definitely has a better position, probably not by much, but white will eventually play e4 and expand in the center and maybe expand on the queen side. I mean, white has lots of possible plans here. Okay, yeah, the targeting of the b2 pawn is a problem for white. Okay, white does not want to trade queens. But not wanting to trade queens has cost him a pawn. It's very likely that this game will just involve them squeezing each other out in an endgame. But white has the compensation of maybe grabbing this strong bishop on f5 and messing up black's pawn structure somewhat. Of course, now the threat is knight here. Might have been better to play that before taking, I'm not sure. Let's go back in. I probably should have played this round. I would have gotten third, but I wanted to spin around just watching. This game's interesting. Black has tons of space, and of course is up material. This bishop is trapped. White should realistically resign at any point. But black needs to speed up a lot, or he's going to end up in trouble here. Queen c4 was winning, I think, because the mate threat and the knight. Yeah, but of course there's bishop e4. If rook takes bishop e4, if rook had taken bishop e4, it would pin the rook. Now, white should mop up pretty easily as long as he doesn't run out of time. Sonny's bishop is trapped. Sonny is, like, in-game wise, Sonny has a winning position because of the outside passed pawns, but if black drops her queen, then that's a problem. Well, never mind. I mean, white is low on time, but now that he's up this much material, he shouldn't have much trouble converting. Queen here would have been an interesting way to win. And the Peter and Clay game is still going on. Major time pressure. Black is still up a pawn. Like I said, this is going to get dragged out to an ending, but endings in this time control can be catastrophic. I mean, who even knows what the best way to continue here might be? I certainly couldn't figure it out in 10 seconds. Much less, 3 or 4. But I'm not known for being a particularly good blitz player. I'm okay. But definitely not great. Looks like Clay is bleeding time, which you cannot afford to do. Bishop d6, probably. Okay, that's reasonable. King d6. Yeah. Rook b7. Rook d7. Yeah, he'll probably push the c-pawn. Yeah. I mean, I don't. Now he loses the c-pawn after king e7, knight takes c5. So white's advantage has disappeared. Check. White wins a piece. Yeah, time pressure is always the worst way to go out. I mean, it happens, but well, that's it for tonight. Graham takes first place. Peter in second, follow in third. I probably should be in third, but I wanted to watch. All right. Well, I'll see everyone on Saturday. Maybe someone else will stream on Saturday, but I'll see everyone on Saturday for the Rapid tournament. Make sure to subscribe or follow the channel for updates on the next event and for notifications when we go live.